Member of Parliament and leader of the Sri Lanka Muslim Congress, Rauf Hakeem. Mr. Hakeem, interestingly, many are saying that because the Samaka Jana Balawege is an alliance, the post of Prime Minister was lost to Ranil Wickremesinghe. Is it so?
In fact, the equation in Parliament and the leader of the opposition's position is given to someone who has the most number of members in the opposition, and that's how Mr. Sajith Premadasa is considered the leader of the opposition. The fact anyway is that...
No, I'm referring to the post of Prime Minister, which was given to Ranil Wickremesinghe, Member of Parliament, a couple of weeks ago by President Gotabaya Rajapaksa when he was appointed as the Prime Minister. Do you think that leader of the opposition, Sajith Premadasa, lost the contest because he was engulfed with a number of other political parties as well when taking a decision to be the Prime Minister?
No, in taking the decision, he did consult us, and then our advice to him was that provided the President agrees to the conditions that we had laid down, that he could go ahead and accept it, despite the fact that numbers wise we will have certain difficulties in carrying on having a majority, in the sense we will be caught up in a situation where we will depend on other members from other parties who are defected to the opposition, as well as some in the government, to have a simple majority. But with all those inhibitions, we in fact advised Mr. Premadasa, if the President agrees to the conditions that we all agreed in consultation with each other, that he should take the challenge. He was in fact prepared to do that, but this particular issue of having a definite timeline for the President to quit was the issue in which there was no agreement, and therefore Mr. Premadasa opted out.
So, Mr. Hakeem, you say that you did tell him that that is leader of the opposition, Sajith Premadasa, take the challenge. Are you all disgruntled with the fact that the leader of the opposition did not take up the challenge when he was given that position by the President himself?
No, I mean, by hindsight we can see, and though people may think that he should have risen up to the challenge and should have taken it when it was offered to them, I always consider that the offer was a left-handed offer, to say it within inverted commas, because for all purposes I was quite convinced that it was only plan B of the government. Plan A was to install Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe. That was their preferred choice. However, they wanted to, for optics purposes, they wanted to offer it to Mr. Premadasa, so that knowing very well, given the pitfalls ahead, that he might not latch on to the offer. So finally they implemented the plan A they wanted to implement, and that was what I feel, though people outside may think that he had let go of an opportunity that was given to him. It is quite obvious, because it is seen as a very now when you see Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe's position, he is in a very weak position because he is the single member of his party in Parliament, and having to depend on Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna and some dissidents from Podujana Peramuna to cobble together a majority. You cannot expect much from a Prime Minister with such a difficult position. So that is why we felt what would have been ideal was to go by the Bar Association proposal and to have an all-party government. If we are to have an all-party government, that should have been at least a an effort to install an apolitical person as a Prime Minister if Mr. Premadasa was not willing to take it up.
So being a major constituent party of the SJB, if leader of the opposition Sajith Premadasa took over the post of Prime Minister, today I probably would be addressing you as Minister. Don't you think so?
No, even if Mr. Premadasa was willing to take it, some of us had inhibitions of taking on ministerial portfolios unless it is an all-party government. Because what we were told, and in fact Mr. Sumandran will bear witness to this, in a private discussion he had, I don't know whether I am entitled to say this, with the President, he had told Mr. Sumandran that the offer was made to Mr. Sajith Premadasa on the condition that he will be the Prime Minister and he will be entitled to nominate only 4 members of the cabinet out of 20. The rest of it, the President will retain the power to nominate the rest. So that would mean that the President from the outset did not have a very sincere intention of allowing the Prime Minister to form his own cabinet.
So I just want to interrupt you here for a second here, Mr. Hakeem. Because Mr. Sumandran's name was mentioned, can you take responsibility for that statement that was made by Mr. Hakeem with regard to President's statement to you?
Yeah, well, that was communicated to me. I wouldn't want to say that it was told to me directly. But certain communication took place between the President and myself with regard to him stepping down. In the course of that, there was mention that SJB can be given 4 ministerial positions out of 20.
Right.